Welcome everyone. I'm hosting Farms of Canada this week. Today I want to go through a few things from an Ottawa perspective. This is very important. We just had a general election. We're 2 weeks into a minority government. So what does this mean to your farm? To agriculture? And the multi-million-dollar question: how do we get government to listen to you? First, a bit about me. My name is Janet Krayden. I recently left my job to go out on my own. And so my company's name is Crystal Clear Connections. It's a little scary going out on my own. It was a tough decision, but it was time. I'm very excited to advocate for agriculture. I started working on Parliament Hill. I was there for 5 years as a staffer. I also worked 5 years for industry and 5 years most recently for a research council. So I'm an agriculture lobbyist and I'm registered with the Federal Lobby Registry. I work for clients who hire me to work on tough issues, policy issues, regulatory issues here in Ottawa. One of my clients is mushrooms, and we'll be sharing some of the exciting work I've been doing with them most recently on immigration. So what is a lobbyist? Are they scary people? Are they fat cats? So I'm going to be poking some holes in some of these misconceptions through the week. I'm passionate about agriculture and also about energy because I need to heat my home in winter and I eat food. So it's really that simple. So I want to demystify lobbying a little bit, and I looked into the history of it, and what I discovered is that if you don't like lobbyists, you can basically blame General Grant. So Ulysses S. Grant, General Grant, who became the President of the United States in 1868, he actually coined the word lobbyist. And how this came about is General Grant, President Grant, he liked to go down to the lobby of his favorite hotel for a brandy and a little cigar. Maybe Mrs. Grant didn't like the cigars. And the political advocates in Washington would stop by, say hi, buy him a drink. Building a little rapport, you know. That's the origins of the word lobbyist. If you don't want to blame General Grant, President Grant, you can blame this. This is your government. It's a massive amount of ideas and issues competing for supremacy on Parliament Hill. Who wins is whose idea gets on top. And this is your government changing and increasing regulations. This is what it looks like. These regulations affect your farm. And the people that make the rules, have they set foot on a farm before? You need an effective strategy to help you navigate this muddle. Canadian agriculture contributes $111 billion per year to the Canadian economy. That's over 6% of Canada's GDP. That's $304 million a day, creating 2.3 3 million jobs. That's what the Canadian agriculture value chain contributes to Canada. So how do we get the recognition for the amazing work that Canadian agriculture has pioneered? Things like no-till agriculture, livestock that are being produced with less food, very humanely, natural grasslands that are an unbelievable carbon sink. And did you know that agriculture is the star productivity performer in the entire Canadian economy? Very strong labor and employment laws for our workforce, and well over 95% of Canadian farms are family owned. Canadian agriculture is feeding Canadians and the world with safe and affordable food. Easy to get stuck in the mud over these issues. One of the reasons why is nobody seems to know any of the things I just told you. So my number one piece of advice to you is start with the big numbers. Because no matter what the issue is, it helps to build the case of why government needs to listen. Sometimes it seems any positive change for farmers just seems so very, very slow. And this is why. Red tape. So originally red tape was used as ribbon on important bills to get them to the top of the pile. Charles Dickens even talked about it in one of his novels from the 1800s. So as you can see, there's nothing new about bureaucracy. So this is you trying to farm, with the red tape giving you the squeeze, restricting your very ability to farm. So how do we find the straight road? The straight and happy road out of the red tape, to navigate the things that are important to you and your farm? How do we find victory with things like new trade deals so that we're not so reliant on trade with the United States and China? And how about neonics and genetically modified grain being recognized as a positive for the environment, helping farmers battle invasive insects and terrible weeds? And how about labor and immigration policy, so rural Canada doesn't hollow out and farmers are able to find workers when they need them? How do we find that straight road to victory? By exercising our rights. So welcome back today to my home office, where we're going to be looking at how to get government to listen. And today we're looking at our rights, your rights, because you have the right to be heard and the right for Parliament to help your interests. And yes, this here is our House of Commons, and the term House of Commons comes from the common people, our British parliamentary heritage, which is a heritage of rights for the people like you and me. We have a long history of rights. People in the private sector. This is what our parliamentary government is actually all about. From the Magna Carta of 1215, the knights forced King John to sign it. This limited the rights of the state or the crown, taking rights for the people of business. And a lot of lobbying and also fighting went into the achievement of this precedent-setting document. And the king didn't want to sign it, but he was forced to sign it, and sign it he did. So from the Magna Carta, let's fast forward to the Canadian Bill of Rights of 1960. And this is rights for Canadians. And then let's go move to the Canadian Constitution of 1982. These are the rights of the people, and that means you. This is our protection from the state and over-regulation. Because you are the people that grow the food. Exercising your rights as citizens is, in fact, the most important part of our parliamentary democracy. So let's hit the road. We're going to hit the road to exercise our rights. And our main right is the freedom of speech. And that's what we're exercising today. You on Ag Twitter, me making this video for Farms of Canada. That's how we do this. And I'm going to be giving you some of the tips I've learned over the last 15 years in Ottawa, and how you can also participate with your freedom of speech more effectively. And this is, in fact, our democratic duty in our parliamentary democracy. So some of the things that I've learned is that, number one, use your ag association. This is one of the best ways you can connect. You have a full contingent of staff working for you. Get involved. Let them know your ideas. What's important. They're working for you, so let them know what needs to be communicated to Ottawa. Number two, the power of the phone. Do you know nobody uses phones today? Yet everyone's being so bombarded with emails, nobody has time to look at them. No matter what email or letter I send, I always have to follow up with a phone call. And when you get someone on the phone, you're making it personal. And that's the number one thing I can tell you. All this needs to be personal. Building relationships both with staffers as well as your own MP in your own area. That's huge. Effective use of social media. That's what I'm going to be explaining in the next segment. Let's take it up a notch from advocating. Let's become activists for agriculture. I encourage you to broaden your audience, to use the social media for focused outreach on the important issues. And how do we do that? I'm going to tell you a secret. Shh. The politicians all read their social media accounts. Nobody's using the phone except me, because I find it very effective. Too many emails, so most of those are getting deleted. But they all read their Twitter accounts on their iPhones, even on the floor of the House of Commons. Now, not everyone does. For example, the Prime Minister, he'll have a staff, but most of the other politicians do. So it's a tremendous communications and lobby tool to get the important issues to the top of the pile. So this is why I've developed a tag list for you to use, to start tagging the departments and the politicians directly. Of course, the hashtags are still important. Keep using those as well. It's very difficult to get into the mainstream media today. They're not interested in agriculture, and they're going broke, so they don't have space. But we got to keep trying. So let's tag the media too on the important issues. Rosemary Barton, Don Martin, they need to know what are the important issues for agriculture. We need to make it personal. It's emotion that sells. And that's the way communications with social media really is one of the only ways today to get a lobby breakthrough on some of these important issues.
Just one more thing, sir.
Yes, Lieutenant.
I hate to bother you.
So just one more thing when you get your meeting. Keep it short. Assume your meeting is no longer than 30 minutes. Prepare a one-page summary, which will also serve as your leave behind, and you can email that before your meeting. No more than 3 issues. Get rid of the laundry list. One issue is even better, and is in fact why Mushrooms has hired me to lobby on the ag labor issue. Focus on the issue and the solution you're trying to get results on. Assume the official does not know anything about your agriculture issue. Keep it high level. Start at the beginning. And most important, figure out how to make it personal. Bring in the anecdotes from the farm, why this is important to you. For maximum impact, this is what you need to do when you get your meeting. So now I have revealed to you some of the dark arts of lobbying. Thanks for joining me. Thank you to Louise for allowing me to host Farms of Canada this week. I hope it's been helpful demystifying lobbying. I hope I've given you some ideas on how you can get involved and exercise your rights from your tractor seat to get your issues to the top on Parliament Hill. Any questions, you can contact me through personal Twitter account at Canadian Advocate, and also reach out to me through direct messenger if you have any projects in mind. Always open for business.